Friends, this is our first video of the series. Today we will be talking about the human mind in current COVID pandemic situation. So we have a question,
Yes.
Salil. A lot of us are facing anxiety and depression because of this whole scenario which is going into the COVID situation. So please define what is anxiety.
Okay. So, oftentimes we kind of confuse between the words fear and anxiety. Let me just make clear what is the meaning of the word anxiety. See, normally, for example, whenever you are facing a real threat in your life, for example, you are crossing a street and you see a speeding car coming towards you, the sensation and the feelings that you have are what is called as fear response, what is also called as the fight, flight, or freeze, which is a life-saving response, and it often does save our life. But let's suppose that you went through this experience and you came back home and your mind kept on replaying this situation, and it kept on imagining that this situation is going to happen every time you cross the street, and this starts a circle of worry, and it starts creating the same sensations that you felt actually when you were in this situation, and this is what we call it as anxiety. So the difference between fear and anxiety is the fear is the response, our natural response that our body gives when we face a real threat in our life, whereas anxiety is a future oriented fear. We are actually not even facing that situation, but our mind is imagining that we are facing that particular situation, and it is creating the same kind of fear response. So we can say that anxiety is a future oriented fear response.
Okay. So now can you explain that how can we overcome this feeling or
Yes. It's a very good question. How can we overcome the anxiety? In psychology, there is a very famous saying, or you can also say it's a truth actually, which says that what you resist persists. So, the longer we go on resisting a particular emotion, the more stronger it will become and the more longer it will persist. Remember, these things are called as emotions that indicate that these things are in motion all the time. And when we resist, when we say stop, we are stopping their natural ebb and flow. We are stopping them from moving normally. So, if you know a little bit about surfing, the really successful surfers, they never fight the waves. They actually learn to ride the waves. So, it's not really possible to overcome or to stop the anxiety completely, because it's our mind trying to do its normal job. Now, you might ask me, why do you say that this is the mind's normal job? For that, we have to think a little bit from the evolution point of view. See, our mind's number one job has always been to keep us alive. It's a tool that we have that gives us the edge over the other species on the planet. Like every species on the planet, it has a specific tool that can help it to survive. Like lions, they have long nails, they have strength. Bears, especially the polar bears, they have strength, they have a huge amount of body hair that helps them to survive in the cold. We humans, we do not have any such things. The only thing that we have is our mind, which can imagine and predict uh, solutions and problems, and so it's a tool. And so when your mind is creating fear or when it is creating anxiety, it is doing the thing that it is designed to do, to protect you. It often doesn't really know how to do it well, in the sense that just think about yourself. Let me ask you the question: how many times have the bad things that your mind predicted really came out true in your life?
very few times?
Exactly, and this is a common human experience all over the world. Most of our, what we call it as gloom and doom kind of predictions that are made by the mind, do not often come out to be true. They are not as drastic as our mind would imagine. them to be. So it's a natural way that our mind functions. So instead of trying to control this anxiety or stop this anxiety, if we can learn to understand the message. Let me help give you another example to understand this concept of the message a little bit better. Imagine in your washing machine at home, suddenly it starts giving up some error signal, like a light lights up all the time. And there are two ways that you can deal with this. One thing is you can absolutely neglect it and say, oh, it's just a light, I don't bother about it. Or the other thing is you can really think about, oh, what is it indicating? What needs to be fixed? And then you fix it. Right? So one option is to completely neglect it, or maybe to just cut the wire without solving the problem, so you don't see the indicator anymore. Or the other is to solve the problem. Look at what it is indicating. Similarly, whenever we are feeling anxious about something, it is an indication that something that matters to us, something that we value in life, might be threatened. So let's take the example of the current COVID situation, right? Many of us, we are facing anxieties related to financial things. We are facing anxiety related to our health, right? So, and you will see that no two people have exactly the same kind of anxieties. It depends on what really matters to us. So if for me, finances is very important, my mind will imagine all kind of future scenarios where it shows me how, if I don't earn money or I don't have any income, what will happen to me, blah 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 blah. The mind can be very good at imagining things. For some other person for whom health is a more important thing, it will show them or imagine all kind of scenarios where maybe they die, or they end up in the hospital for a long time, or all this kind of worst case scenario. So the message is, the mind is indicating that something valuable to you might be threatened. So instead of trying to shut off this message, which is a very valid message, can we listen to the message and turn towards real life actions that we can take towards our values? For example, if your mind is giving you all kind of anxieties about your health and showing you all this gloomy pictures that you're in the hospital or you're dead or blah 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 blah, you can really think about, what can I do to improve my health, and do those things. Maybe eating right, exercising, taking some proper nutrition. So these are the things which are in your control. What happens between your two ears, what kind of thoughts come into your ears, this is not really something that we can control. So can we shift our focus from trying to control things which we can, and stop trying to struggle with things which we cannot really control?
Okay, very well explained.
Thank you.
So a person can have multiple anxieties also, like
Yes,
with the-
we can be anxious about different things at different times. Again, like I said, every time something that we value or something that matters to us is threatened, we would start feeling anxious, or we would start having this kind of response. So, depending on, for example, imagine our daughter is late coming back from home. Your mind normally would not tell you, she's okay, she's playing. It will start coming up with worst case scenarios. So at that point of time, your anxiety would be more towards the well-being of your daughter. Now, why it created this anxiety about the well-being of your daughter is because your daughter is something that matters to you. You value for your daughter. At other times, your mind, if you are reading the newspaper or reading the messages on the WhatsApp University about health and people not finding beds in hospitals, blah blah blah, you will start worrying about your health. You will start becoming anxious about your health, because at that particular time, what is the focus of awareness is the health value. So we can have different types of anxieties at different times.
Okay. So Salil, can you tell me about worrying? What does it? What role does it have?
Okay, so worrying is a way that our mind thinks that it is doing something, Let me again talk a little bit about evolution. So, as we know that our mind is the number one job of our mind is to keep us alive. And how does it do it in the external world is by identifying problems and finding effective solutions for them. So the mind is constantly busy in analyzing things and finding solutions for it. Now, worrying is a similar mechanism. Your mind puts a prediction or a fearful thought that, okay, this might happen. And then your mind immediately starts getting busy trying to find a solution. So, that is what we call it as worrying. So, when we worry, we have our mind has this impression that it is doing something. The second thing related with worrying is in our neurobiology, we have something as a dopamine reward mechanism, or what we can also call as the dopamine fix. So, whenever your mind finds an effective solution for something, or in your real life, whenever you find an effective solution for something, the reward that we get is a dopamine release, and dopamine, as you know, is a feel good kind of neurotransmitter in the brain. So when your mind goes on worrying about something, and this is why we like to play Sudoku and solve crosswords, because every time when you solve a crossword or you do Sudoku, there is a small dopamine release. So we go on doing it again and again. That's why we also play games on computers. And whenever you solve a hard level, you feel good because that's the dopamine release. Similarly, in our mind, when there is a problem, and most often when it's an imaginary problem, that is when we worry, our mind starts getting busy trying to find different solutions for it. So from time to time it finds a small solution and there is a small dopamine release, but again then the mind comes up with another prediction and then the mind gets busy. So it's kind of an habit that we learn. So just like any other addiction that we have, like addiction to alcohol or addiction to smoking, so we can also become addicted to worry and to receiving this dopamine fix. So it's not really an effective way of functioning, because we are spending a lot of energy trying to find solution for imaginary problems.
So, can we stop worrying? And if yes, how?
Okay, so again, worrying comes from anxiety and the problem's natural tendency to finding solutions to problems. If we can distinguish between the things that we can control and the things that we cannot control, oftentimes we are anxious about the things that we think that we cannot control, like what is happening out in the world with this COVID situation, what is happening, and then we read about things, and then our mind starts getting busy and starts worrying quite a lot. So, if we understand this, where the the worry comes from our mind trying to control something. But what is it trying to control? It is trying to control an imaginary situation. If we can understand this, and we can also understand that we are spending a lot of energy into trying to solve something which is not in reality, just an imagination, we can choose to have an alternative behavior. So just like I said that we can be addicted to worrying, similarly we can de-addict from worrying. One of the effective ways is to learn to accept anxiety or learn to be with our emotions.
You said to learn and accept the emotions. So, but if I don't like my anxiety,
Yes, nobody likes anxiety. I mean, given a choice, who would like to be anxious? It's not, see, acceptance doesn't mean that you have to like or you have to love what you're having. Acceptance means the word as it is. Acceptance means taking as is given. For example, if I bring a gift for you and I say, Neha, will you accept this gift? You wouldn't say, most probably you wouldn't say that this is conditional, that if this is an iPhone I would accept it, if it is an Android phone I would not accept it. So when I offer you a gift, you and I ask you, will you accept it, you say yes. So acceptance is not conditional. So it doesn't mean that you have to like the anxiety, it is already there. So acceptance means learning to make space for it, learning to make space for something which is already there. You don't have to like it, and you don't even have to struggle with it. So acceptance means letting things just be. I'm not talking about submission. There is a big difference between acceptance and submission. Submission is very passive. You give up. That is submission. So you are passive, you give up. Whereas acceptance is a very active way of being. You say, okay, I am allowing this to be there.
It's like a
Instead of
continuous-
struggling with it, like we talked about what we struggle with. So if I say I don't want this emotion, I don't want this emotion, it will persist. Acceptance means that okay, I can feel that I'm becoming anxious, I can understand why I'm becoming anxious, because something that I value is being threatened or might be threatened, and so me feeling anxious is natural, and allowing it to come, stay as long as it wants, and go away. So remember, emotion, it is always in motion. Acceptance means letting it be.
Thank you, Salil, for this explanation. Do leave your comment, and if you have any questions or suggestions, put it in the comment box, and share this video if you like with your friends. Thank you. Till next time, namaskar.